Good morning. My name is Skip Sims. I'm with Arbor Spark. And I'm going to tell you about 3 potential funding opportunities for your early stage technology-based businesses. But I'll warn you up front, none of those, unlike some of the programs you've already heard about, none are grants. These are all potential, this is capital that can go into your company, but we expect it back and we expect a return. The pre-seed fund was actually created back in the idea in 06, and it was granted, and we started going with it in 07. It was an effort, a collaborative effort of all the smart zones in the state. At that time there were 12 or 11. Today there's 14. With the idea that the entrepreneurs we were working with were getting to a point where they need some serious money to continue to grow their businesses, but weren't finding it in Michigan. And we felt like if we could create a fund where we could provide a little bit of capital, it might entice some investors to get more engaged with this burgeoning technology startup ecosystem we're creating in our state, as well as get you that capital to really launch the business. It's important to understand, first of all, we identified the pre-seed stage of a business, of a startup business, as the category we wanted to benefit. So let me define that for you so you'll know whether or not you're eligible and can participate or take advantage of these 2 funds. The first part of what we call pre-seed stage is when you've moved out of research, you're now fully into development, you've decided to create a business, you've incorporated, and you're on a path and you're beginning the path to commercialization. You've already used tens of thousands of dollars and some grants to get to where you are. You've used friends and family money, but now you need some serious money. The end of the pre-seed stage, if you will, we define as achieving one of 2 things. Either $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue, or you've been able to attract over $1 million of outside third-party private equity investment in your company. So that's pre-seed stage. If you're beyond either of those, congratulations, you've evolved into the seed stage category of your evolution, and you're off and running, and good for you. The pre-seed portion is a co-investment match. It's up to $250,000. You can raise up to $1 million. The most we'll put in is $250,000. We do require a minimum 1-to-1 match, so if you raised only $150,000 and still wanted to take advantage of this opportunity, matching opportunity, the most we would put in would be $150,000. The criteria is obviously you got to be a Michigan-based startup company, must have the rights or control your intellectual property. We use all the smart zones. Again, where the collaboration comes in is the smart zone here at Houghton would work with you on your business plan. Make sure that you will co-invest. And you must have your match in hand first. What we will not match are other state funds. So if you've got that match from ETF for your SBIR, you can't use that for the match for our program because it's other state money. Sales revenue will not count as a match. In kind, any barter arrangement, sweat equity does not count as a match. We're looking for cash that we can match that's going into your business to help you accelerate it. If approved, we'll do a background check on all the founders. We will only invest one time. We will put the money in, but you cannot come back for more. So using that other example, and we matched $150,000 and we put that in, you cannot come back and ask us for a second tranche. You cannot come back and ask us to participate in the next round. We're a one-time only investor. You can reapply once. All of the decision whether or not we invest in your company is made by investors. So they're looking at it from the investor perspective. Pretty high bar. We turn down about 40% of the companies that apply the first time. We encourage you to reapply though. Again, you work with your smart zone, work with you on what you can improve about your plan and your business model, and maybe there's a milestone you still need to achieve according to our reviewers. Do that, come back and reapply. If you do work with your smart zone well and take advice and move forward, we've got about an 85% success rate for companies that come through the second time. What are we looking for? The same thing most investors would look for, a full-baked business plan. We want to cap ours at 30 pages, however. We want a detailed 5-year pro forma. We want to see your investor presentation, usually 12 to 20 slides, and we want to see a signed document confirming that you do have your match in hand. A couple of years ago, we introduced a program that allowed for smaller amounts of money for companies that are really on the early part of the pre-seed stage of your development. Maybe you need to finish your beta prototype. Maybe you need to operating costs to help you with marketing, getting to the trade shows, finding your first customer, partnering up with somebody, and there's some operating expenses that you need some money for. We created a loan. Now this is not an investment, it's not dilutive, but we do expect the money back. It's a subordinated note that we'll provide up to $50,000. We are not quite as demanding on what we're expecting. A 10-page business plan will suffice, but make sure all the key elements about driving a business forward are included. We want a pro forma. It doesn't have to be 5 years out. Go out 3, give us the basics. And we want to see the bios of the entrepreneurs so we know you're the right people that can move this thing forward and hit the milestones that you're going to. We require a letter from the Smart Zone. The Smart Zone tells us that yes, we have done an initial due diligence on this business. Yes, we like what they're doing. We've seen the business plan. We have consulted with them on that. We believe that the loan request is reasonable. Their use of funds are appropriate for the next milestones that they need to achieve. And by the way, we, the Smart Zone, will continue to work with the entrepreneur to help them achieve those milestones so you can pay the loan back within a 2-year period. It's a subordinated note, 12% interest. It does have a 2-year term, but there's no personal guarantee, no collaterals required, no warrant, and it balloons. So there's no payment during that 2-year period. At the end of 2 years, you pay us back the principal and the accrued interest. You pay the note off early, which we would love, no penalty. The last program I want to tell you about is a new angel network that's being created in the state. It's the Michigan Angel Fund. Unlike the other angel networks, however, in the state, this one is created as a result of investors that are putting money into a fund, very similar to a venture capital fund. And the investors in that fund now make up a new angel network. This group we will proactively look at for deals. We'll do the normal kind of screening any investor would do. Where this fund differs, though, from all the other funds in the state is that we're not interested in companies that are venture backable. If your business is going to need $5 million, $10 million, $50 million eventually to get to where you want to be, that's a venture model kind of investment. We will not consider those. We're going to be focused on the majority of startup technology-based companies that really only need $1 million or less, or maybe a couple $1 million or $3 million over a couple of rounds. That's what we'll be focusing on. That does not fit the venture model. And yet a lot of opportunity exists in our state, and that's what we're going to focus on. I'll bring your attention too, though, that this will be very competitive in that over the next 18 to 24 months, I'm sure we'll be fully invested and probably end up only making 8 investments. We're going to be looking for those technology-based businesses. We will consider pre-revenue companies, but for the most part, having some revenue is going to be our preference. You could be in the pre-seed, seed, or early stage in your evolution. Any of the technology sectors, we're industry agnostic. However, we will not consider lifestyle businesses, nor will we do franchises. We won't do real estate kind of investments. We're going to focus on tech, high growth opportunities with disruptive technologies, etc. And we're going to look at the normal kinds of things investors are looking for that would generate a very high return. And that's our goal. This is a very for-profit endeavor. And so defensible position, large market opportunity, but with limited funding requirements. And so to talk about the venture industry, though, there's Mary.